Bubakeredde-Owiny.
The President of the Republic of Uganda, my Lord the Honorable the Deputy Chief Justice, the Honorable Acting Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and as well Substantive Minister of Public Service, the learned Honorable Attorney General and Head of the Legal Bar, the Honorable Justices and Judges of the Courts of Judicature, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and other members of the Diplomatic Corps here present, Honorable Members of Parliament, Your Grace, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Inspector General of Government, the Chairperson or Representative of the Judicial Service Commission, the Chairpersons of other constitutional commissions, the Head of the Civil Service and Secretary to Cabinet, Heads of jealous institutions, members of the Constitutional Commissions, the Permanent Secretary, Secretary to the Judiciary, Your Excellency, the Chief Justice of Uganda has a speech that runs into 24 pages, but for reasons which are peculiar today, which we appreciate, the Chief Justice will seek to unpack this by highlight in less than 10 minutes. The entire speech is in a booklet, which Your Excellency will get a copy, and in your free time you'll be able to look into. Your Excellency, we take cognizance of the fact that despite other equally pressing and competing national and international demands for your attention, you have consistently given priority to the judiciary, joined us, and engaged with us in our several crucial functions. Such judiciary functions include the annual Judges Conference, the launch of the new law year, and the Benedicto Memorial Day. As a matter of fact, you've been our guest 3 times in one calendar year. From January last year to January this year, you've been our guest 3 times. We do not take this lightly. Similarly, you always easily and promptly grant us audience whenever we have issues to share with you. This is laudable, as it is a clear demonstration of your appreciation of the pivotal place and role of the judiciary as an indispensable factor in the promotion and sustenance of peace and development in our country. The new law year, Your Excellency, the launch is an annual function. It is a tradition, it is a ritual at which the judiciary accounts to the people of Uganda, in whom judicial authority vests, for our activities in the immediate previous calendar year. We take stock of our performances during the previous calendar year, point out the achievements registered, as well as the impediments and challenges we faced. We then chart the way forward and lay down the roadmap for the current year. This is the purpose of today, and all this is contained in the 24-page document, which I'm only going to highlight as I've said. Last month, the judiciary embarked on a grand agenda to transform the judicial landscape in Uganda by provision of meaningful access to justice to the people of Uganda in fulfillment of their aspirations and desire, for which there is an unrelenting, deafening outcry from the people. This mission can only be realized when there is equitable, visible presence of a functional judiciary within reach of our people throughout the country. More importantly, the judiciary must be true to its duty to do justice to all manner of persons. A judiciary that is guided by and lays emphasis on the principles of integrity, impartiality, and zero tolerance to any vice that negates the requisite principle for rendering justice. A judiciary to which corruption in all its form is anathema. A judiciary that renders justice on the principle that justice is not for sale. It is only then that we will have truly afforded the people the much cherished access to justice. Without this, the physical presence of courts of law is in itself not access to justice. It must be quality justice, it must be affordable, it must be run by people in whom people have confidence. Your Excellency, I take the opportunity of this occasion to laud you for your intervention and taking ownership of this transformation agenda. We were very glad, we celebrated Your Excellency, when we found that we have convergence of mind on the issue of access to justice. We have convergence of mind with you. We celebrate it. We are happy. We think this is God sent. That's how things should be. You ensured that the provision of robust budgetary allocation to the judiciary, which is the most important and game-changing tool for the realization of the agenda, is put at the disposal of the judiciary. With the meaningful enhancement of the judiciary budget in the financial year 2020 to 2021, following your direct intervention and direction, we have already commenced and registered unprecedented achievements in the pursuit of the fulfillment of the undertakings and promises we made to the people of Uganda last year here on this very ground. In this commitment, we have foremost dedicated our energies to fight delay in rendering justice. This delay is notoriously known as case backlog. Now, when I started school, very many years ago now, we did not have the nursery as we take our children to nursery now. We did both nursery and P1 together by writing on the sand, and then you're promoted to writing on a tablet. Then you go to reading. It must have been in P2. It's a vernacular book, I can't recall which, there were a number of them, where there was the story of this ogre. An ogre, we call it in my vernacular OBB. OBB is an ogre, O-G-R-A. It was so bushy, the hair on its head was so intimidating, and Mr. Hare, the rabbit, said for him he could manage to shave the ogre's head. Of course, he had rudimentary tools, I believe. So there was this picture of the rabbit perched on the head of a huge man-like beast. And then the story said he would shave one side and then change to the other side. By the time it finished this side, the other side had grown back to the original form. And then the rabbit was scared, Mr. Hare was scared, it ran away. Your Excellency, that's the problem of backlog. That we have few judicial officers, they do their very best. Maybe it is judicial work where we do not have the tradition of 8 to 5, 8 in the morning to 5. Because we go home, you must prepare for tomorrow, write the ruling. So really, for us, we work overtime. Every day it is part of what comes to the territory. That every year we record successes in disposing of cases. But in the new law year like today, the number of cases that is turned over to the following year is more than what we have disposed of. The real story of that ogre. Now, if Mr. Hare had persuaded 3 other rabbits, so that there is one on this side, there's another one on this side, and another one perched on the head, I think they would all have completed at the same time and rested before they come back to share. That is the purpose for our cry for manpower in the judiciary. The solution begins with enough judicial officers. Then you can bring in technology and the other things. So it is our plea that this backlog, you leave it to one Mr. Hare, it will never go. It will be a chronic problem. It is already a chronic problem. Now, part of our design to fight this backlog, to bring justice nearer to our people. Your Excellency, you're already aware, we've agreed there must be magisterial courts, districts, and constituencies. And for you, for which, again, I hail you, you say it is not enough for constituencies, we must go to the sub-counties. And we are headed there by the grace of God. I'm glad to report that because of the enhanced budget, this financial year ongoing, we are able to operationalize new High Court circuits in this country, namely in Moroto, this financial year, before end of June, Moroto, Tororo, Iganga, Luwero, Hoima, and Rukungiri. This one will start coming. We will continue to pursue ICT and other technological innovations, and will continue to enhance human resource capacity, numbers, skills, motivation, and so on and so forth. Now, Your Excellency, when our budget was enhanced from 199 to 376, as I said before, it was a game changer. You'll be able to read what we've done with that capacity. It is all tabulated, it is all stated here. It will take me an hour plus to do that. We do not have that time. We have seriously taken on alternative dispute resolution interventions, plea bargaining, which is gaining ground. The fellow who is a remand prisoner knows he committed the crime. But he knows that when he admits, maybe instead of 8 years, he can get 4, something like that. So he comes forward and said, I did it. Then there is small claims procedure, which is easy. Up to 10 million shillings, we've come up with a program where you don't need to go to a lawyer. Of course, some of our lawyers do not agree with this. You go, it is a simple procedure, the matter is decided, you go home, you claim, you get your money. This past calendar year, 2021, the small claims procedure enabled into the economy money that had been locked in claims to the tune of 12 billion shillings, 566 million. Then regulation, which is also gaining root. You know, when we were colonial subjects, we took everything, including adversarial mode of dispute resolution. Adversarial mode of dispute resolution is foreign to Africa. The African society promoted mediation, mediated and conciliated processes in which you look for the good from either side and put them together. In my vernacular, it is called porolo, not larolo. Is adversary. You want to win at all costs. It's like you throw a piece of bone and dogs are fighting for it. Each one wants for itself. They don't realize that they could break it into two and both. So we are promoting mediation, which is the African jurisprudence. It is in sync with our traditional dispute resolution. Now, Your Excellency, I'm glad that we have recruited a number of judicial officers because of this enhanced budget, this financial year, actually this past calendar year. In 2021 calendar year alone, we recruited an unprecedented number of 91 magistrates, grade 1. In the past, the judiciary used to receive 12. If they were fortunate to reach 15, now we have recruited 91, and we've already begun on the process of deploying magistrates in places where people had never seen a magistrate. Your Excellency, I am inundated with claims. Local governments are now writing to me that we want magistrates. Various districts. I can give you an example of Atanga, like midway between Gula and Kitgum, across Aswa River. They made a very good example. They wrote to me 2 years ago and said, we are putting at the disposal of the judiciary our administrative block. Will move away to other premises. We want a justice center here. They followed it up. I'm glad to report last year we were able to deploy a magistrate grade 1 in Akooye, where the building replete, their council hall we use as a court hall. The chairman's office has become the chief magistrate's chamber. The entire building to be taken over by the judiciary. That says a lot about the cry of our people to be accorded access to justice. But now we are going to recruit a number of judicial officers. Your Excellency, when this, for those that have to come to you, we plead with you that despite your busy schedule, find time to consider them and make the necessary appointments. There is work to do, and we need these personnel. 3 Supreme Court justices, 16 for the High Court, and then registrars, and the other ones are for the judicial service alone. Now, the judiciary is reforming certain laws, certain rules. The judicator court fees rules, this is work in progress. It's reached the final lap. The judicator court bailiffs rules, the judicator amicus curiae rules, the judicator legal representation at the expense of the state rules, the Constitution sentencing guidelines for the High Court practice directions, the Constitution bail guidelines for court of judicature practice direction. Let me talk about the last one. The Constitution bail guidelines for court of judicature practice direction 2022 seeks to put in one place guidelines informed by the law as it is of bail from the Constitution, Trial on Indictment Act, Magistrate Courts Act, and then decided cases, decisions of the courts of judicature, the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and some High Court decisions. It seeks to put it together so that the judicial officer before whom a bail application comes does not act on his or her whims, but is guided by the rules pertaining to the exercise of discretion, with responsibility and in accordance with the law. Taking care of interests of all the parties, the accused person himself or herself, the victims, and the public, so that when a decision is made, it should only be wrong, but it should not be unreasonable. One can make a wrong decision, that is permissible in our trade, but it should not be unreasonable, when unreasonableness can be avoided. So this is work in progress. We should be able to come up, and I will launch this when it is completed. As I said, the number of judicial officers is still small. And because of that, I had promised to do it in 10 minutes. I have exceeded by 1 minute now. Mayor Kulka, we had agreed with the chief registrar that she would wink when I go beyond now. Now, Your Excellency, let me talk about what both the learned Attorney General and the Honorable Minister said. We have begun to do very well, courtesy of your intervention as the judiciary. You've given us a vehicle with everything, but you've given us fuel which will stop in Bali, and yet our journey is up to Moroto. What do I mean? The Director of the Public Prosecution, which is the center, the nerve center for prosecution of cases for the administration of criminal justice, is operating at 37% capacity. When you hear that in criminal cases there is delay, for which always the courts of judicature are blamed, it is because people do not understand how criminal justice exercise works. The judiciary is at the tail end. A very effective prosecution, and this begins with investigation by the police, then it comes to the Director of the Public Prosecution. When it is very effective, then the matter comes to court. The matter should be disposed of within 1 month. So my appeal, our appeal as the judiciary to you, Your Excellency, is please take charge again, put leverage, and ensure that we have a robust prosecuting arm of the criminal justice system. Director of Public Prosecution. I did promise the Director of Public Prosecution, then when I'm exercising my constitutional duty to present to you our budgetary proposal, I'll bring her along. No, because it is her presence, it is her contribution that will make the judiciary reach Morocco. Otherwise, we'll get stranded in Bali and we have no business in Bali. Now, finally, plans for the coming financial year. Your Excellency, when you put your hand and agreed that the judiciary budget, for it to be meaningful, should reach the ceiling of 800 billion, you also directed that because of competing demands, and we appreciate, we are not unreasonable people. We know we belong to this country and we know our capacity. You did direct that this should be achieved in the medium term of 3 years with progressive enhancement. We will come to you for the second batch of enhancement in our budgetary to also prove that we are not unreasonable. We will come to you, Your Excellency, and we plead for the second enhancement or the middle enhancement to enable us to do this. Begin the deployment of chief magistrates in every district. We would like this coming financial year, Your Excellency, to recruit a minimum of 30 High Court judges at the same time. From this, I would want to deploy 5 of these judges to the Commercial Court alone, Commercial Division, and then 5 to the Land Division. And then the others I will deploy to the circuits, the up-country courts, so that there are 2 High Court judges minimum in every circuit. If we can achieve this, by the time next year, today, we invite you here, you will see the smile and the beaming on my face. Even before I speak, you know I'm happy. And your own people, when you visit them, they will tell you that now the government is doing something. So it is numbers, it is numbers, it is numbers. then technology will follow. We would like to commence this coming financial year on the construction of 2 appellate courts, one in Gulu, another one in Barara, to ease the northern sector and the general western sector. Then after that, we'll go to the other areas, Mbale, Jinja, Arua, and Mugende, in Masaka. So, Your Excellency, it is our plea that we need to embark these 2 districts, the 2 cities of Gulu and Barara, has given, and I'm using the word given deliberately, the judiciary of Uganda land on which to construct these courts. Now the ball is in the hands of the government to reciprocate, to show that we are as serious as they have been. And they have done this because they understand the pain that their people go through in the pursuit of access to justice. Then, Your Excellency, Learned Attorney General as head of the legal bar, Madam President of the Uganda Law Society, the things the 2 of you have spoken about, before I became a judge, I practiced law for 23 years. It was simply unthinkable that a lawyer, even if you are civil, that a lawyer would criticize a judge. You criticize the decision of the judge. Even if you use civil language, you could not say, what's wrong with the way Dolo? No. But where we have gone now, I saw it creeping, where people would bring politics in our courts of law, where people want to use court as a continuation of a political contest, where people seek to delegitimize the courts of law. For those people, I ask you to read Robert Paul's A Man for All Seasons. And where somebody was talking about destroying the laws, put a forest. Each one of you who is acting unreasonably, who is motivated by whatever it is, to abuse judges, using unprintable language. I mean, the words they use, I can never say it in front of my sister or in front of my children. It is in the courts of law, however you regard it, that will run tomorrow. And if you undress the judges and they remain naked, they will go into hiding. And then you'll remember what was said. When the devil goes on rampage, you need where you can find salvage. The judiciary is the forest where you can hide. A lot of things. Even we have made decisions which are overturned. But we do it with courtesy. We accept criticism because that's what we learn from. But one does not need to insult the person of the judge. Me, as head of the judiciary, it is my duty to defend the person, the interest, and the position of each judicial officer. It is my responsibility. There will be consequences. This can never be done in any other country. That you can abuse the person of a judge, make vulgar reference, repugnant reference. What has the genitals of the judge got to do with his decision? How can we have, Madam President, how can we have a law society that condones this action? If the president of the Uganda Law Society had come and said, we have taken this action, Learned Attorney General, you as head of the legal bar, how can we have people whose business is now to do this to the judiciary? Supposing we fold our arms and say, okay, we are not worth it, we sit at home. What will lawyers do? Collecting individual and busuri, is that enough? So as the judiciary of Uganda, which I am privileged to head, it won't be business as usual for those who think, whatever their state of mind is, that they can deride, they can attack individual judges. You attack one judge, you attack all of us. So unless the Ugandan Law Society, unless the Learned Attorney General takes action and stops this nonsense, when we act, it will be drastic, it will be severe. Excellency, we look forward to a progressive realization of our revolutionary agenda and providing timely and meaningful justice that fulfills the aspiration of our people. We will act as one when as your development and harmony in our country. I appreciate our partners who are here with us for what you continue to do for the judiciary of Uganda. We look forward to further partnership. It is now my singular honor to officially launch the new law year 2022 for God and my country. It is also my other honor to invite you to speak to the people.
Uganda Yancha.